I'll just say hi to all. I see new names, Comfort. Was it deliberately written Comfort or the name is Comfort? Okay. So hi all, welcome to the session. We'll wait for another couple of minutes and then we'll start. Meanwhile, yesterday we had questions and I had to disconnect abruptly because there was another session. So you start posting them. I'll be happy to see the answers now. Oh, thanks, Emily. You are able to see the video. Okay. 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 So Salin, would you be giving us a course completion certificate? I nothing. I mean, we don't do something like that. Uh, but let me see. That's a good idea, actually. Uh, that will also help us creating the brand as well. Okay, let me speak to Karthik and I'll get back to you on this. Okay, thanks for posting this question. Okay, so this particular what do you say the project cannot be moved into a resume because this is not a real-time project, right? So I don't think it's feasible to keep it on the resume. It will help you to understand how do you test it, as simple as that. Okay. Yes, Aline, it was something like functions today. On SQL functions, you mean to say? Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So coming back. So coming back. So this is what the tool exactly looks like. Single row ones. Okay. So from yesterday's training, So if you see, we have a database for which the client I'm using is SQL developer. So I have a source SDBU. Okay, I'm on a VM machine, so it's very slow. You will have to bear with me for a while. The internet connection, because of the internet connection, it's very damn slow. So I have a source SDBU and I have a target TDBU. Okay. Now I'll take one table and will let you know what is that I'm expecting from this table. Okay. So let me take one mapping so that it would be helpful. Hmm. Okay. So I'm mapping M class. So this is how the Power Center designer look like. As I said earlier, I got repository where my Informatica repository is residing. Okay. Whereas you're not able to see the screen. Everyone else is able to see the screen now, at least. All? Yes, no? Okay. So I have R, which is Informatica repository, where my code is residing. D is the designer, where the developers actually create the mappings. Okay. And then I have workflow monitor, where I'll be having the list of workflows. So workflow manager, where I'll have the list of workflows which I need to run. Okay. Someone who newly joined, you might be asking what is the workflow. Workflow is a combination of one or more mappings which you will be running which will be used to run to get the information from source to target. Now, how do you do that? That is up to the, what do you say? That will take, in the next classes, I'll let you know how the workflows are created, what's the logic behind it. And then monitor. Monitor is where I see the log. Okay. So now coming back, I have a mapping. I'm not telling you what do you say, the requirement, something like that, but a simple requirement where let me take one mapping which will be easy for you all to understand. Okay, I'll take this itself. So if someone has been part of theoretical class, right? We have discussed about uh, source definition, source qualifier, lookup transformation, expression transformation, okay, sequence generator, all these transformation types we have discussed. Okay, now these transformations, if you see here, right, expression transformation, it will be not mentioned that this is a transformation, but this is one section where it will be defined. Okay, so expression transformation, what the purpose of expression transformation? One second, guys. I need answers. Please post them on the comment section. For those who were already part of the what do you say, live training, you should be able to answer what is the purpose of an expression transformation. Suneet, Supriya, Krishnaveni, you all forgot what exactly was it? I need an answer. Then only I'll at least. Suneet, Priya, what happened? You forgot in this 1 month's time. Okay. Say suppose I have first name, middle name, and last name. Okay. I want to concatenate and get it as full name. Okay. So in that case, my input values are string values. Alright. They're not numerics or integers. Now I want to concatenate. In that time, if that is the case, how do I go ahead? If it was a plain SQL, in terms of SQL, how do I do that? Okay, use the concatenation function, right? Now, in order to use the same in the Informatica mapping, I'll be using the expression transformation. Here, instead of saying concatenate, that concatenation definition I'll be giving here. Okay, so I'll open in here in the Excel in the formula. I'll be writing concatenate the column name. Okay, and if there are null values, I'll say the condition. If null, then what do you say? Do just a plain concatenation. Else, you'll have to do first name, last name, and middle name. So what will I do? If I have middle name as null, then instead of null, I should have a space. That's it. Say suppose my input value is first name. Okay, let me open an Excel sheet. Now Rose, you are not able to see the screen at least. Is it open now? Okay, the requirement is first name, mid name, and last name. Whereas my target is full name. The column is. Now I have Mahesh, Null, Reddy. My output should be Mahesh, space, double space, then Reddy. Okay, and if it has Suneet, M. Sridharan, R. Sridharan, my full name should be Suneet R. Sridharan. Now, what is the expectation? One condition would be if I have middle name as null, then I should have blank space. Else, it should be concatenation of Suneet first name, middle name, and last name. Alright? Or is it okay? It's still on Teamweaver. Okay. Now you are able to see the screen. The mappings at least. Okay. So now what will I do is I have 1 second. Stamp slow. This one is freezing. Okay. So the basic of any mapping is the source definition. Okay. This particular source definition will be defined. What's the name? The source table will be department. Okay, department table will be the source. Okay, and the ports will define what are the columns in that particular source table. So it has department number, department name, LOC. Okay, so you will have to cross verify this with your source definition. So how will you see your source definition? Source definition is nothing but your source table. So in your source table, you will have to go and in your source database, you will have to go and see what is the table name and the list of columns that are present. So as part of testing, you have to make sure whatever are the columns, their data types, number, varchar2, so on and so forth, their precision, which means their max length, 2, 14, 13. So these same values are present in the respective table or not. So let's go and see whether the table is also defined such that way. So define, describe, DEPT. So let's see this. Are you not able to see the SQL developer? SQL developer is not open? Oh God. Are you not still looking into the SQL developer? No. There's some problem. I don't know why. Okay, now you see, right? Okay. Okay, let me run this. Okay, now you see, right? In the department table of my source, the definition is department number. It has columns, department number, department name, LOC. The data types are number, varchar2, varchar2 respectively, and the maximum length is 2, 14, 13. Now your mapping has source qualifier. In source qualifier, when I click on it, I have department number, department name, LOC with the same characteristics. So if you see data type number, and under that you got P comma S, which means it's a primary key for this particular table. So department number is primary key, and when you saw the source definition also, it was mentioned the same. Okay, so that is what you will first you clarify whether the source definition is correctly given or not. Okay, now the check that you will have to do is you might have all the columns in source, but sometimes the requirement says that you don't require few columns. Okay, that particular check, or what you say, the skipping part you can do here. O is output. So I want, if I want all the three columns in the what do you say, for target definition, then I'll have these three selected. If not, if I remove, which means you don't need the values in that particular column, so you can skip that particular column. Okay, so let's then is my source qualifier. Okay, source qualifier is the definition which will let you know what are the columns that should be considered. Okay, now if you see, the data type has changed, right? Have you observed this? The data type that was mentioned in the source qualifier is different. Sorry, in source qualifier is different, whereas in my Sorry, in source definition it was different. See, if you see number varchar2 and varchar2, it is in sync with the database, source database. But when it comes to sequence source qualified definition, right, its data type has changed. This is because Informatica has its own data types, while what do you say, database has a different data types. Okay, but ultimately when you go to the target, right, what it should happen is it should come back to your original target definition, whatever data type it is. So that is the key part that we will have to see. Now, how do you map your existing source data types to your Informatica data types? I'll give you a list which will let you know this is what it should ideally convert into. And when it has to come back, we will have to make sure what was the original data type. The same should be there in the target definition as well. Okay, confusing? So far so good? Yeah, this is tool specific. Yes, Emily. So far so good? Okay. Now I see someone raised your hand. Who was it? Any questions? Okay. Now I'll directly jump to the target definition. Okay. So let me go open one of it. If you see, department number was number and department name and LOC was varchar2, 2, 14, 13, right? So now when it comes to the target, the definition is rolled back to what it was supposed to be, right? So as part of testing, you'll have to make sure the same is being there or not. Now let's see what is the target table here. So the target table is DEPT underscore type 2. So let's go to SQL developer and connect to the target and see what is the definition of target. So SDBU is my source and TDBU is my target. So what was the column name we had? Department underscore type 2, right? This one. So define DPT underscore type 2. DPT what happened to this? Okay. So if you see, it has serial number, department name, LOC, flag. So the data types that are mentioned are number, varchar2, number, and max length is 2, 14, 3, 13. So let's go back to your target definition. Yes, department type 2, ports, serial number, department number, 2, department name, LOC, flag, 14, 13, 15. Now if you see, for serial number it is defined as 15. But in your target definition, there is nowhere mentioned what's the maximum length. 15 is not mentioned here. You see it, right? So we will have to pose this question. Was there any specific reason why in mapping it's only 15, whereas in my target it's not, there's no maximum length that is defined. Now, is it a problem? Do you see any problem statement here? I want answers from all. Yes, so what's the issue? What will happen? It will take spaces. Okay, I see one answer. What's the other? What is the other problem you see? All start thinking. I mean, why is it a problem? Yeah, right. So if source value is more than 15, okay, 15 characteristics, my target definition is correctly given. It can take more than 15. But in my Informatica mapping, I am trimming it down to less than or equal to 15. So what is it happening? In the code level, I'm doing a mistake because of which my data is getting trimmed down and shown in the target, which is a defect. Now, if you were a normal tester, right? Normal database tester, for you, the data has to be copied from this to this. But how will you find out where was the issue, right? So that's where the developers will go and see the code and check what is the definition of target, and where they will find. Now as an ETL tester, you are having access to the tool. So you'll go and see well before the defect is found at the data testing level. You are going and seeing into the Informatica mapping, and you'll say that, hey, I see the definition as 15 and 15 for serial number and flag. But my target definition is having not having any maximum length defined. So it's an issue for us. Please resolve it. Right? So that's the advantage of having the knowledge of the tool. Okay. So I'm not going to the in-depth of all other definition, but let me take one more sequence generator. Okay. Now I have a new column. If you see the target definition, I have got a sequence serial number, right? Serial number is I want to have another column added to the target, which is not present in the source, and but it will have some sequence generated, right? So if you see, if you have to cross check what is the input for this particular value, this particular column, you should have it. You should have a definition that is given. So what is to be done? You are creating a variable and you are giving a value for it. So next val will define what should be the value into it, and current value is the basic value that it should start with. So any sequence will not start with 0, right? It should start with 1, and next val will define what should be there in the next one, which means 1 plus 1 or 1 plus 3. Okay, so you see the properties increment by 1. So the next row when it inserts, it should be plus value. They gave the start value as 0. Okay, which means if you go back, current value is 0. Okay, which means the starting value in this case can be 0. Alright, whereas the increment should be done by 1, which means the next row when it inserts 0 plus 1, 1, and the maximum value is this. Okay, if someone who is already part of live training, right, I'll ask this question. So what is the purpose of stored procedure in this particular example? If you remember, we discussed about stored procedure, right? So do you see any use of having a stored procedure with this example? Okay, I'll only explain. So say suppose the value has crossed some rows, I mean at some point the row value has crossed this one. What should be done? I'll not have these many values. I'll not have these many values in my database. But suppose, per se, I have crossed this count. What will it happen? So it should start with a new sequence. So that definition will be given in stored procedure. Okay. Yeah, it should start a new sequence, and that definition will be given in the stored procedure. All right. Okay. So I have a couple of questions here. What is the current value? Current value is, they are the value variables that are given. So Current value is 10. So if you go to this particular table, you will have only 10 records. Okay. So let's do that. If you want to cross check, you can do it. Let me connect to the table. See, you got 10 records, right? I mean, current value is, the next value that will be inserted is 10th value, right? So all you got the question what Navroz was asking. Navroz is asking what is the current value in the design. In the properties section, it was saying the current value is 10, which means if I have to insert a new record, what would be its value? So it says 10. So I went back to SQL developer, went to the table, and I saw I got 9 records. So the next value that will be inserted would be the 10th record. Okay. So if you don't have access to database and you still want to see how many records are there, this is an indirect way of checking it. Okay. Okay, let me stop here. I see a lot of hands raised. Okay, I'll start with Salim. Yes, Salim, you had a question?
Mahesh, yeah. So in the previous example, I saw you said in the target
One second, one
table.
second. 1 second. Yeah, now please.
Yeah. So in the previous example, you said in the target location, the length of the field was like 15 bytes, 15 bytes.
Yes.
However, in the it was 13 and 14. So if in the source it is 13 and 14, shouldn't that be shouldn't that easily fit in the 15 bytes the field?
No, no, you got confused. 15 bytes was for serial number and flag. For department name and location, it was 1413. It was correctly defined.
Okay. So here I see there is no, so your question was that there is no definition of there is no definition of bytes here, right?
No, no, no. I am saying there's no limit on the maximum length that is given in the target definition. But in the
But
Informatica
can you
mapping, yeah,
so this is the target which you've opened, right?
yes, yes.
The target and there's no length here. Okay.
Okay.
And in your and in the source there was something like
No, no. For source, there was no columns. These columns were there. Serial number and flag were not there in the source. It had only department number, name, and location.
okay.
If you
So
see
this
here,
was actually added by Informatica.
it was added as part of the requirement. So I need those two columns, extra columns to be added in that particular table. It's a new table altogether. But what I'm having is I'm having these three columns. Now flag definition, some definition might have been given for flag. So if you want to cross check, you will have to open this respective 1 second. So
So
flag
that means
date,
in the
yeah,
so
one
that
second.
means in the requirement they did not provide us the length of the field.
Yeah, they didn't provide.
So then that means that's why Informatica like whosoever map they didn't provide it anywhere. So that
No,
means we have to ask the business to provide us that, right?
yeah. So if you go back, right, someone who is on already testing or in already into software, right, there will be one
Yeah.
separate team for development, one separate team for testing, one separate team under development again for ETL, one for database. Now for database, you will have a BA admin, BA person, business analyst, and for ETL, there will be some other person. Now, if there was
Oh,
no coordination between both of these BAs, right, when the
yeah,
requirements are defined, BA for
yeah.
ETL might have given, hey, this particular column should take only 15. Whereas
Oh,
BA for database might have given, there's no limit for that particular column, right? So
okay,
this non-coordination activities will happen in real time,
okay, okay. All right, all
right?
right.
So as there are of
Yeah.
two different teams, now when it comes to the actual mapping, it has to be changed. It has to be cross-verified. And that's where, as part of ETL testing, we will coordinate between both of these systems and see, hey, this in this system it's mentioned like this, but in your ETL mapping it is differently mentioned. So please verify and sort it out. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And then is Praveen. Yes, Praveen. Praveen.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hi, Mahesh.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, I have not raised my hand.
I see it raised. That's the reason. I'll
I'm so
just.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Navroz.
But Mahesh, one question.
Yeah.
Uh, in what you called when you're showing the source, what you call target table, who creates that?
It will be defined. It will be defined by the database BA.
Okay, it will be already available in the Oracle development.
Be it be any data warehouse. It should not be
Okay.
specifically only database. It can
Okay.
be Oracle database. It can be SQL developer or something. SQL
Okay.
or any
They
other.
will give us the target and the source
Yeah.
tables, right?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
They'll give the connections. You will have to
Okay.
see. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Navroz. Yes. Your turn.
Hi, Mahesh.
Hi.
So you said the requirement for the length of the fields they were missing, right, in the
Yes.
database. I
Not
can
missing.
see when.
No. 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 It's not missing. It was defined like that in target definition.
Okay, but when you open the, can you open the table again?
Okay. Okay.
Like I can see varchar 14.
So this is for DNAME, Navroz. For these three columns, it's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
few columns that are added, serial number and number,
Oh,
you don't have
mm-hmm.
any definition here. But if you go into the designer and open the target definition and go to ports, you see for serial number it is said as 15, flag it is said as 15. Whereas for other three columns, 2, 14 and 13, it's correctly mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, and those two are missing, right?
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So these definitions, these are like part of Informatica, right? Not this target database.
Not. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we will
Okay.
have to cross
Thank.
verify whether the mappings are correctly defined or not.
Oh, oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Ashwini, you had a question? Ashwini? Okay.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear now. Yes.
My question is like BA will be giving all the requirements, right?
Yes.
So so how it get missed, like in the target definition that all will be listed in the requirement document, right?
Yes, sometimes it's human tendency that we overlook few things, right? When if you see this particular target definition might not be given just in this mapping. It might be used in some 10, 15 mappings also. Now, once I start using the same target definition in all tables, uh, human tendency will, I know what are the maximum lengths already, so I'll do the same rework. I don't see the requirement mapping and then do it, right?
Who is giving the mapping expressions?
That will be done by developer. So you will have to go and see in the design document whether the mapping definition. So in the design document, unit testing document,
Okay,
okay, so they will give you what are the list of mappings that are created for the target table.
okay. So in now as per here the SQL developer is having source as well as target,
Yeah,
and in the design document the mapping how the mapping is done is mentioned
yeah,
with the source and in the mapping expressions and target.
yes, right, right. So,
So
okay, I'll show you a sample mapping document. Are you able to see the Excel sheet now?
yes.
Okay. So the mapping document will be source column, table, and target column, table, and the uh, formula, if any formula is there. If it's a straight copy, right? So let's take, I have a department number, department name, and location. Say suppose this is my source definition. It is coming from department table. Target column is department number. Let's say it's a straight copy, but I'll tell you one small thing. The table for target is department. So it is changed. Okay. So this is how it is mentioned. So my formula is it's a straight copy. Straight copy. This one is also a straight copy, but my city will be trimmed to two characteristics. Here it was of 10 characteristics, whereas in target it would be only two characteristics. So I'm trimming it down here. So my differential will, if it is Hyderabad, it should be HY. It should be HY, and then if it is Bangalore, it should be BL. So at this point, I'm only catering to these. My company is in only these two locations. Say suppose. So what am I doing? For Hyderabad, I'm saying it should be like this. For Bangalore, it should be like this. So my now mapping will have source definition with this particular columns. In target definition, I'll have these columns. But when I create the what do you say expression transformation for this particular column, I'll have the SQL written that hey case if Hyderabad HY, uh, if Bangalore, it should show it as BL in the values for that particular record. So this is my mapping document. So like that, for each table, the mapping document will be defined.
So it is in the designer the each company vary in which format the design will be given, design document as per here you are showing it in the designer of Informatica, right?
Yes, right.
So if company is using Informatica or data stage, there the design requirement will be mentioned.
See, the design requirement will be mentioned in the mapping document. So how the source
Okay.
and how the target definition is given, that's mentioned in the mapping document. But the actual development happens in the respective tool. So for Informatica, it's the Power Center Designer. So I'll open the Power Center Designer, go to the respective mapping that is given by the developer. So at the mapping document part, you are not having the mapping defined yet. Okay. So this is given by the BA. Now once the developer develops, right, so he will add another column mapping name. So they will say that the name is M underscore DPT underscore dimension or something like that. So this will become your input. Okay. So now what you will do is you will now open the Power Center Designer, go to the respective mapping and click on it. See whether the definition is now given correctly or not. The formulas are written correctly or not. What's the source definition? What's the target definition? Okay.
So here it is not mentioned the 14, 13, the character limit.
Where in source?
Here the mapping, in the mapping.
It's there, right? In the mapping document or in the mapping? In the mapping you got, right, in the, under ports, you have 2, 14, 13, it's there. Precision, under precision column.
So how this window came up? What you clicked?
This is the mapping that is opened. Okay, I went to the designer, see designer. I went to the respective mapping. I double click
Okay.
on it. The mapping has opened. This is what developers has done. Okay.
Okay.
Now under that I got the source definition as a pod. Okay. Now when I click on it, I'll get what is the source table name. Okay. In under
Okay.
port section, I'll see all the source columns, their data
Okay.
types, their maximum length.
Okay, so you said on clicking the checkbox of O, it will be displayed, and if it is checked, if not
One second.
entered the checkbox, then that column is not displayed.
It's not considered at all. Yeah.
Okay. So what is I there?
It's an input. So for source definition, input will be it will not be unchecked, but in target it would be checked. One second. You will not have O selected there. See, here O is not selected because it's not going to any other column, any other table again, right? So here I will be selected. Okay.
Okay. So there are three target definitions mentioned.
Yeah, that I'll let you know. This is a different, it's altogether a confusing one for you again. So I don't want to confuse you more. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Yes, Navroz, you had a question again? Okay. Are use case, test scenario, and test cases written for ETL testing? Are they typically manual testing techniques used? Yes, Bala. Narang, yes, you got the correct one. We'll have to write the same. But how do you do is, it's altogether a different kind of, a different way of doing. Okay. But the same techniques will be used here as well. Test scenario here will become if table wise. So if I'm entering, if I'm uh, loading from this to this table, whether the data is loaded or not, that's your test scenario. But for test cases, the conditions. So if it is Hyderabad city, whether it is showing it as HY, that's one your test case. If it is Bangalore, whether it's showing it as BLR. If I give null values in the city, what is it showing? That definition is not anyway given anywhere, right? So that's a defect for you. So it's your negative testing, right? So these are typically your test cases. So where will this documentation be maintained? So it's your mapping document, right? So mapping document, BA/developer will be providing you. And you will have respective tool wherever, if it is an ALM or a SharePoint, it would be maintained there. We can create target depth table in Informatica itself, right? Yes, we can create, Sunit. So on the fly, if you want, if the requirement says that on the fly, if some condition is met, I'll have to create a table. So those we typically call as dynamic views or dynamic tables. So on the fly, you will have to create, and you will have to what do you say? Delete them once the mapping is completed. Similar like temp tables. Okay, so you can do it in Informatica also. Hope it answered your question, Sunit. Narang, does Informatica have reporting capability? Reporting capability in what sense? What does that mean? It means the results, or you want to see the actual functional reporting? Can you elaborate the question a bit, please? Test case covered, defects resolved. No, no, no. This is all your ALM tool. How do you do in actual manual testing? That you will be mentioning there. Okay, in ALM tool or your whatever test management tool you are using, you will have those in the tool itself, in the ALM or in your respective test management tool. Informatica doesn't provide something like that. The only advantage that you will have is in monitor, you can go and see what was run. So when was it run? How many rows were passed? That information will be there in workflow monitor. Okay. Yes, Praveen, you had a question again?
Yeah, Mahesh,
Yeah.
when I see this mapping, will someone will give us test cases, or we have to create our own test cases
We
for
have to
every
create
mapping?
our own test cases.
Okay.
See, test
Okay.
cases are more of data validation. See, first will be
Mm-hmm.
whether the mapping is created or not, whether in the source qualifier, target definition it's correctly mentioned or not. If any
Mm-hmm.
new columns are added, obviously they should have a variable defined. Okay,
Exactly.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
variable definition is correctly defined or not. Okay,
Okay.
so this is part of your ETL. The
So we
actual
have to
data test,
understand.
yeah,
So we have to understand if for as if we get any mapping, we have to understand that yes, we have to go line by line and check each and everything
yes, right,
for all the mapping. Okay.
yes, right. But
Okay.
I'm giving a heads up for all of you guys. In my 11 years, 12
Mm-hmm.
years of experience, only for one project I have opened the mapping and seen. Rest all projects I have done only with data validation.
Wow.
And people term it
Okay.
as ETL testing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice to hear that. Simple job.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Yes, Ashwini, you still had a question again?
You said you just did the data validation, like how, what is that?
So source, this is the data in target, whether the same data is copied or not. Or as I said, in our example, if Hyderabad is there, it should show as HY. So whether in target, whether it's shown as HY or not. Only that kind of validation I'm doing. But actual ETL testing is you'll have to go and see in the mapping whether the target definition is correctly given and the column that is being changed, whether the expression transformation is created for it and the case statements are written in the particular column or not correctly. So as I said, if I have null values in my source under location, what should it come here, right?
Yes.
So that's not defined anywhere here.
Yeah.
So if I was doing data testing, I'll do negative testing. Like I'll have null values, whether it's showing the what value is shown in the respective record, that I'll do as part of data testing. Now, if I have to do ETL mapping validation, I'll open that mapping, see whether the case statement is written. Case, if this, else, what should it be shown, right?
Okay. So you generally use the select statement in the source table, and how you give those inputs, or how it is? If you want to do the null validation, how you do?
I'll write my case statement, right?
Uh,
So
uh,
in my source definition, in source SQL, if I'm doing data
yeah.
testing, okay, what I'll do is I'll write select this particular column, department number,
Mm.
comma department name, comma location. Under location, I'll write case statement. If HY Hyderabad, show it as HY. If Bangalore, show it as this. Else null will be shown as null only. So this output of the SQL query that I have written on source will be same as select department number, department name and location from target table. Both will be the same because in my source I used case statement and changed it to the respective output values. So this is my data validation method. Okay, fair enough.
I'm not at clear.
The problem is, okay, so have you gone through SQL videos? Are you familiar with SQL?
Yeah,
Okay, so you
but
understand case statement?
case statements I need to check.
Yeah, please. If you understand that, then you will be easily understanding this point. I want
Okay.
others, if you have any question on the same point, let me know. I'll repeat the same for all as well. Okay, for the benefit of others as well. See, I have the data as I said. In my source, I will have Hyderabad and Bangalore, right? Now, if I have to do the testing, how do you do that? Tell me. I'll drive it from there. Ashwini.
Yes.
So I have department number as D1, department name as finance, and city as Hyderabad, location as Hyderabad. Now this data I'll have to show in target as D1, finance, and HY. Now for this, if I have to write the data validation using SQL, how will you write?
As you mentioned earlier, like select the column name D1,
Hmm.
the finance,
Now as I use
and
case statement here, it will become HY, right? This is
HY.
written
Yeah,
on
if it
source SQL, right? Now
yes,
if you see the output of source after writing the SQL has become as same as the target output,
yes.
right? So here I'm using case, whereas here it's a plain SQL query. So what am I doing? I'm writing this query on source with case statement, whereas plain query on target, and I'll match both the data are working or correctly coming or not.
Okay,
That's my plain data validation. This is pure data validation.
okay,
But when it comes to ETL mappings, right? So if you have to open the mapping, go to the respective mapping, see whether the target definition. So the target definition will be mentioned, right? So well before the target definition for that particular column, say suppose here it is flagged. So you'll have to go and see whether an expression transformation is returned for this particular column or not. So flag is connected to OLD flag. OLD flag is connected to this, and this OLD flag is connected to which column? This particular column. So I'll open it and see whether the definition is given correctly in the expression transformation or not. So here I'll see whether the case statement is correctly defined or not. Now you got the point?
this is O new record expression, right?
Pardon?
OLD expression, you need to open it.
See, it's a variable again. It will okay. That's the reason I said I don't want to confuse you guys at this point. It's a long journey that you'll have to go unless and until you know what are the transformations you will not. So here okay. This will look into this lookup. What's the input for lookup? This is taking from which value? O new record. Now where is this O new record? It is mentioned here. So this definition you will have to go and see, right? So that's how
Okay.
it's a back game you're doing.
Okay.
Okay. So in that expression definition, you will have to see whether the case statement is correctly defined or not. That you will open in the expression transformation expression. The formula should have case Hyderabad HY Bangalore BL, else null. So that definition will be mentioned in the formula section. So if you see, this is not plain SQL, but it is similar to SQL. Okay. So if you understand SQL logics or how the SQL is written, understanding this formula is also easy.
Okay.
Okay.
These are called cases.
Yes. No, here in this example, I don't have case statement. So I am saying, for example, which we took, that case statement will be written in the formula section.
Here. Okay.
Okay.
So how much ETL tester will be using Informatica tool?
As I said, right, in my 12 years of career, I used only 1 year for this Informatica tool. I opened my mappings only for 1-2 years. That's it. Rest all what I did is the data validation that I was telling you. So I'll write my source query. I'll verify with the target query whether the data is correctly coming or not. That's it.
And you are checking the mapping expression, like in the design requirement, what it is given.
Yes. Mapping expression I don't open. So as I said, only 2 years I opened these mappings. Rest all I used only design document or the mapping document that is given. Based on that, whether the data is coming or not. Only that I have done.
In the target. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. Sunit Sridharan, how do the target lookup work for insert and update, especially SC due to separate mapping is needed? Yes, it's for that it's a separate mapping. Yes, as part of this training in this live project, we already discussed about SCD 1, 2, and 3, right? How does it handle it? I'll be letting you know. You got the right point. Yes, thank you. Narang, will you be showing or we will be writing any test cases for this project? See, I'll not do anything. Okay, I'll just give you requirement document and the mapping document, and I'll be based on the structure that we discussed yesterday, right? I'll be giving you the mappings, or if you are installing at your end, I'll give you the XML file, which will be changed as an Informatica mapping if all the connections are correctly given. Then based on the requirement, you will have to do the data validation, ETL mapping validation, and come back to me if there are any defects. Or if you are stalled anywhere, I'll help you in sailing through that. I'll not do anything. It's you who will be doing. How to do, I'll let you know. Okay? How the real-time project happens, the same way it will happen. Emily, for a data validation, how do you ensure the records are same both in source and target when millions of records are involved? Yes. So rightly mentioned, that's where the entire pain point is in ETL testing. So you understand, we all understand the concept of risk-based testing, right? I'm assuming that you all know what is a risk-based testing. Yes, no, right. So what does risk-based testing allows? I am saying that I'll test the high-level functionalities or main functionalities. Rest all I will leave. The same will be applied even in database in our data validation also. So I know that Hyderabad will be HY and Bangalore will be BLR, whereas null values will be something. So what I'll do, if say there are suppose 1 million records for Hyderabad, 3 million records for Bangalore, and some 5,000 records for null. So my first approach will be I'll verify 5,000 records, the ones with null, where my data set is limited now. Then what will I do in Hyderabad? I'll then will be Hyderabad because it has only 1 million records. Under that, I'll do where condition where department name is equal to finance, department name is equal to HR. So what will happen in that department names, I'll have limited records again. The huge set will now become trimmed down. The count will be less, right? So what am I doing? So I'll say that as in Hyderabad in finance department, I have more records. I'll verify only finance. Or say suppose HR is the key area. So I need HR values to be perfect. So I'll check for that particular department. So it all depends on how you understand the data that is present. So I say thumb rule for any ETL tester is you need to understand the business first. What is the purpose of the records that are stored in the database? Now if I understand that, then my conditions, the where conditions will change, and that will help us in doing the data validation from the huge set. Again, I'm giving a heads up for all. Banking projects, they will not give you any records more than 5,000 or 10,000. If you are lucky enough, then only you will be able to see millions of records. But in real time, it will never happen. As far as I know, I saw only 16 lakh records. That's a huge number that I saw till date. Because it's a sensitive data, right? So the test data has to be created by us only. And that is a pain point again for us. Because you never know how the real-time data looks like. In retail domain also, if the project is okay with having a replica or a snapshot of part of production data, it's fine. They will give you what to say a snapshot of the production data. There also you will have millions of records, but then again I said, right, you use the risk-based approach to test it. So for that you need to understand the business. Yes, right. Data masking is a huge opportunity in the market also, data mocking up, the masking, because real time data you cannot give it to the testers or developers, right? So masking has to be done for it. So that is also a huge job market, and there are tools for it. IBM got tools, Informatica got tools. All right. Production data cannot be used. They'll do the mock-up for it, or they'll do some masking for it. It's real-time data, right? Sensitive data. It's not advisable to have a real production data, but few projects will have. Yes. All right. So this is it for today. Any questions before we wind up? Yeah. So from first onwards, it's a paid session. Okay. So the ones who have paid for this live project, they will be only getting the access, and the existing members who already paid, you'll get the right. Salim, you are very quick, man. Yes, got it. Yes, Ashwini.
I have joined today itself the course. So what is the timing? Can you tell me?
Same timings. Whatever time we have joined it, because for me also it's not feasible. I have to be in office in 8:30 by 8:30.
Okay. So from 31st, the next class will be on 31st, right?
Yeah, 31st of, yeah.
Okay. It will be 1 month.
Yeah, it would be of 1 month. See, I'm saying 1 month is not a time. I and Karthik and I will never look at the timings. We want the complete information and people to be happy. Okay, so it can extend also to another 15 days as well.
So from 31st every day 8:30 p.m. and weekends also it will be there, right?
No, 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 not on weekends. Even
Okay.
not even daily also. I think every alternate day I'll send you the updated plan,
Yeah, please send me.
because every day means I'm pretty much sure many of you will be working as well, and it would be not that easy for you to practice and come back with the questions. we suggest an alternate day session.
Okay. And the VMware logins also you will be giving.
Yeah, so we will see the, I mean, as I said yesterday, right? I gave three options. One second. One is you installing at your own, at your end and practicing. The other is we providing the VMware and what do you say, the 6 months access. So if people are opting for the second one, who are opting for those, for them, we'll be giving you the VMware access. Others,
So to opt that, what you will be asking, sending the email or how will
yeah,
be done?
yesterday I said, right? Yeah, we'll be sending the email to you all, the updated one. So most
Okay.
probably by today you will be getting the email. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I will be looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Celine, the timings would be the same. Okay. All right. Anything else, guys? All? Yeah, Rami, I saw the email. So, you want me to discuss now, or should I reply back to your email? All right, sure. Thanks, Rami. Sure. Yeah. Suneet, I see you very silent. Supriya, you also. I thought you will have a lot of questions. On a lighter note, huh? Or the questions asked by others was self-sufficient. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for joining today's session. We'll see you back on 31st, and that is first in India. Bye. Have a nice weekend. And by the way, happy Republic Day. Bye.